Welcome to Real Estate Game Changers Radio, featuring real estate trendsetters and industry influencers, sharing tips and strategies to help home buyers and home sellers get the most out of their next real estate transaction. Now, here's your host, Suzanne Doyle Ingram.
This is your host, Suzanne Doyle Ingram with Real Estate Game Changers Radio, and we have a great show for you today. I'm so glad you're listening. Our guest today is absolutely fantastic fellow. He started his first company when he was 18 years old, so he's been in business for a long time. He's a really smart business person. And about 5 years ago, he made the decision to join Exit Realty, and within just a few short months, he became their number one selling and buying agent. So he has just basically blown up in real estate. He really believes that if you love what you do, you will succeed. And I believe the same thing. He's got quite a team assembled now, and so we're going to talk about that today. We're also going to talk about how he's successfully closed in 4 years over $100 million in sales. And I find he's aggressive and passionate, but he's also very caring, very kind. He loves to give back to his community. We're going to talk about that as well. I'd like to welcome to the show Carl Vasile. Welcome to the show, Carl.
Well, thank you, Suzanne. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so glad to have you on the show. So let's start off right away. I'd love for you to tell me, what do you love about your career in real estate?
Probably the number one thing I'd say I love is the challenge and the negotiations part of it to get to the end of the transaction. Mm-hmm. One thing I found very quickly in real estate, that if everything goes smoothly all the way to the closing table without an issue, you need to run to the bank and cash a check is probably going to bounce. So it's knowing how to overcome those challenges and seeing those pop up that I really thrive on. Whether it's in, a big transaction or a little transaction, there's always seems to be something that someone doesn't expect that's going to happen.
Very true. Yeah. So let's talk about the city where you live and you work. Tell me about that.
Well, I currently work and live in a city called New Smyrna Beach, Florida. We absolutely love it here. I grew up in the city just north of here, which is called Port Orange, but then we migrated to New Smyrna. We opened 2 offices here in New Smyrna Beach not too long ago. Right. And we also just recently built a home here in New Smyrna Beach because we love it so much. It's really an amazing town. We call it the mini St. Augustine or the mini Key West of Florida. A lot of people try and keep it a secret, but I try and get it out to the world so they know how wonderful it is.
Nice. What's the population?
It's probably close to about 10,000 people, which is a decent size.
Nice.
Yep, but they keep it small enough to where it still have the family shops on the corner and the little mom and pop trinket shops where they make the glass blown jewelry, and then there's probably about 100 restaurants within 2-mile radius.
Nice.
So it's really a neat place to come out and hang out. Safe city, great to walk the neighborhoods.
Oh, good. And what about the arts and culture scene?
Tremendous amount of arts and culture. There's a street called Flagler Avenue in New Smyrna Beach, and one of our offices is right on Flagler. And that's well known for a lot of the foreign visitors as well as the locals who come, say, from Orlando and drive over on a weekend. There's a number of events. There's always something going on Flagler Avenue. My office sponsors a number of the events that happen on Flagler. One of them is called the Wine Walk, for example. So people will come from all over once a month. They'll come in, they'll buy a couple of tickets, and they'll go and get a wine glass that we have our logo on. And then they'll walk up and down the street called Flagler Avenue, where there's a tremendous amount of restaurants and shops. And they'll hand these tickets in, and they'll get a choice of variety of different wines to taste it. They're not trying to get you too tipsy. They give you just a small amount. But it's a real great gathering, and it brings a lot of people together from all over the area. It's really a great event.
That sounds fantastic. I would love to do that. And plus, because I'm really friendly, so I just chat with people everywhere I go. So I think that would be perfect for me.
You would fit in great then.
Oh, wow. Once a month. That's fun. And I bet a lot of locals go, too.
There's a lot of locals that go, but there's a lot of people that come just for that. New Smyrna is kind of the beach side of New Smyrna is like I said, it's the getaway for many people that live in Orlando or other areas around the part of Florida that's not on the beach, but they want to come here just to decompress. So many of them own like a vacation home, or they own a rental property or something, and they'll come over on the weekends and use it, or they'll come visit. But not just the wine walk, they have art festival. I just sponsored a 5K race that was a couple of weeks ago called the Shark Bite. It was really neat.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, I was handing out sunglasses to the people because it started at 5 in the morning. So my thought was, let's brand some sunglasses and hand them out.
Yeah.
And you know what? Guess how many people at 5 in the morning don't have their sunglasses? But by the time that really got going at 7 a.m. and the sun was up, nobody had glasses.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It really turned out well. Yeah, we had a great time.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a really good idea for branding because they're going to hold on to those and they'll look at your logo over and over again.
Yeah, we ran out. We gave them all away. It was
my
really,
goodness.
Really
that's
neat.
Fantastic. Good for you. So I want to talk to you about your success in real estate because, that's one of the ways that we choose people that we want to interview on the show is people that are very successful, but also people who give back to their community. So we'll get to that in a second. But I happen to know through my research that you were actually on HGTV.
Well,
right?
Yes, I was.
That's
was
amazing.
fortunate enough
Which
to be,
show were you
to be
on?
requested. It was called Beachfront Bargains. It was specialized for New Smyrna Beach. I was the agent chosen to be the agent on that show for New Smyrna Beach.
I love that show. I gotta find your episode and watch it.
Please. I'm sure it's on demand somewhere. It was. It initially aired September of last year, and it just re-aired last month.
Oh, great!
So it's pretty neat. Yeah, it was a great experience. I couldn't speak any higher than the crew and staff.
So, did they? This is such a typical question from me, but did they feed you?
We have lunch.
Yeah, because it's funny when my daughter was in a commercial once, and I remember just being on the set, and all the food was just amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty hectic schedule. I mean, you're going from place to place, and there's on a tight schedule because we don't want the weather to interfere with certain things. I mean, it's a beachfront show, so they're trying to promote, being on the beach, so they want good weather. So if the weather's good, they're trying to get as much in as they can.
Yeah. And what was the bargain that you got for the people? Was it a smoking deal?
Oh yeah, they wound up buying a condo. It was actually a brand new condo that they bought in Ocean Walk in New Smyrna, which I saw a tremendous amount of condos there, and that was one they chose. It was great. Oh,
good. Well, I'll watch that. I'll watch your episode and see for myself.
Well, great.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about, speaking of your success. So I know you are ranked number 1 in Florida for all the non-owners of your brand, Exit Realty. Mm-hmm. And your team and you have been ranked number 1 in all 3 categories for Florida. So you've also had tons of awards, Rising Star Award. I know that you've been asked to be a guest speaker for real estate seminars, and so I'd like to know a little bit more about, don't give away all your secrets, but what are some of the secrets to your success? How did you get so successful in such a short amount of time?
Well, I like to say I'm the poster child for someone that can go from one career into another and be successful. I went from the automotive body shop world, if believe it or not, just barely 6 years ago, into the real estate world. And very quickly took hold of it and became very successful. I was very good in the body shop career, but I applied much of my work ethics that I had then into the real estate. And when I first got into real estate a little over 6 years ago, pretty much all that was in the market that you could do were short sales.
Right.
And nobody wanted to do them.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I loved them. I thought they were the greatest things in sliced bread, not because of the people that were affected by them, but because I could help the people that needed to know how to do them.
Yeah.
And I guess that was the biggest challenge for me, or not challenge, the biggest reward for me was the fact that it was challenging because you had to deal with so many aspects of the transaction. And right out of the gate, I mean, it's like baptism by fire. I mean, my first transactions were short sales, and anyone in the real estate world will know that those are probably the most difficult transactions you'll ever have.
Right.
And they take, sometimes they take a year or longer to get from start to finish.
Yeah.
So that's what I got my teeth bit into in the very beginning of all this.
Yeah.
And that kind of groomed me to be that way. When the short sales started dying off after the first 2 years, I was kind of known as a short sale guy in town you'd go to. Mm-hmm. I had a number of attorneys and different clients that would refer people to me that would need the help in the short sale end of it.
Yeah.
And it just was a great feeling to know that I was able to help get those people out of that debt so they could move on with their lives.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It was just a horrible experience for the real estate world. We don't want to see that again.
I know,
and then from that,
terrible.
And from that, it grew into, I brought in a number of people around me that I felt were tops in their fields, many of which were beginners in the beginning, but then grew very quickly and to be very successful. And I formulated my team. So yes, I went very quickly in the real estate world for Exit Realty, which is the 5th largest franchise company in the United States, to number 1 for non-owner. I'm actually number 2 if you factor in the owner. But then my team of about 7 or 8 additional agents of myself, we have ranked number 1 for the last 4 or 5 years, both in total commissions, total sales. I think there's 4 or 5 different categories. We're very blessed and fortunate to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so I imagine you work with a lot of buyers in your area because people want to buy vacation homes and people that discover it, they need you to kind of guide them. And so how does that work? How do you help buyers?
Well, it's funny you ask that because when one of the seminars I was in and asked to speak at, there was a panel of 5 agents and I was one of them. And all 4 of the other agents all said their motto was list to last.
Yeah.
And you hear a lot of realtors say that, and I actually feel just the opposite. I feel the buyer is the one, they're probably a little bit more challenging in some cases, but they're the ones that have the money.
Yeah,
they're the ones that, right? I mean,
that's true.
You can have 100 listings, but if you don't have anybody knocking on the door to show it or buy it, guess what? You're not going to sell it.
Right.
So to me, the buyer's the guy with the money, or the lady with the money, or the persons or couple with the money that needed the guidance to find that perfect home. Mm-hmm. That was my reason for always thinking that buyers were the way to go. And then a lot of them say list to last because that's how you get your leads and that's how you get your buyers. But with technology, everybody goes to the internet now. There are not as many people that drive through the neighborhoods as there used to be back 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. Now everybody goes right to the internet, and the first thing they do is they look for a house for sale on the internet, and they're going to call the first person that pops up in many cases. And then they're going to look at their reviews, or they're going to look at their past sales. And then they're going to call that person and say, hey, can you show me a few houses? Well, guess what? Now I'm the guy that's got the buyer with the money that's going to go and try and sell that person's listing.
Yeah, that's true. It puts you in the power position.
That's true. And it also allows me to meet so many different people. Me and my wife, we like to work together and go together on showings. And,
great.
And we just love it. We couldn't ask for anything more.
Oh, and so how did your wife get into real estate?
Because of me.
Yeah.
She
said, if you can do it, I can do it.
We had an opportunity come to us, a few years back where we could join ranks in partnership with some of our friends and
great.
invest in a franchise, and then that grew into now we have 3 franchises. And so my wife is in the back end of it more so as far as an owner, and I'm more of the upfront negotiator. Let's go make a deal kind of guy.
Well, you know what they say, behind every successful man is a good woman, right?
Amen to that. 27 years and counting. I don't know many people that are my age that can say that.
How many years?
27.
27 years. Congratulations. That's
Thank
great.
You.
Wow. We're coming up on 21 years this summer. Yeah,
good for you.
It's not all roses, but you got to stick together.
It's the ups and downs. That's right. You got to stick together.
True. So I'd love to hear a story or two about buyers that you've helped in your area.
Well, probably one that sticks out in my mind the most as far as helping them was a couple that they were an older couple. I don't want to say old, but they were an older couple, and they were in their retirement. Yeah. So they needed to sell their home here very, very quickly in order to buy their dream home in Utah.
Oh.
And so the problem was the house in Utah, if they didn't have it closed within a certain time frame, they were going to lose that dream home. So that became a very big challenge because here we have a home that I had to sell. Literally, it had to close within 10 days. We pulled out no stops. Every agent I had, every person I knew, anything I could do. And luckily for me, I reached out to the right person, the right agent that had a buyer that had a deal that had just fallen apart on another house that they were trying to buy that needed our house. Now, this buyer had to get a loan, had to get an appraisal, had to get a survey, and had to have all that done prior to being able to pay my seller so they could have their money to go buy their dream home in Utah. We were able to accomplish a loan, an appraisal, a survey, all within 10 days.
Oh my gosh, that's almost unheard of.
Let me tell you, it was something that I didn't think, it was the biggest challenge that I think I've ever had.
Wow. And that's amazing because I think so many people would say it's not possible.
The stars have to align.
Yeah. Wow. I'm sure you wouldn't want to do that again. That would be so stressful. You probably didn't even sleep.
it was very stressful because I feel more for them than me. Granted, everybody wants to get paid at the end of the day, but I really think that the true successful realtor is the one that really cares about the client. It comes back tenfold.
Absolutely. Yeah, I find that so true. I mean, it's almost like if you treat it like it's your money, then you have more of an idea of what your client's going through.
True.
Mm-hmm. I want to go back to, speaking of, your automotive experience. Tell me what you were doing. Did you own your own, body shop, or what were you doing before you went into real estate?
Well, at age 18, I had two choices. One, I could go to Georgia Tech on a scholarship to be an engineer.
Wow.
Or I could open up an auto repair. And much like many young 18 or 16, 17-year-old people at the time, or kids at the time, they were into cars. I was a big car fanatic. Loved cars, loved everything about cars. Fixing them, painting them, working on them, mechanics, making them go fast. Still have that today, by the way.
Oh, great.
But back then, that was my true passion. And I felt early on that if you don't follow what you really want to do in life, you're never really going to be successful.
Yeah.
So I did not go to the college path. I chose the open my own shop path. And it had its ups and downs. I'm not going to lie. We've gone through some very tough issues during that season, during those years, but it taught me so much. And then with that, it came that work ethic that I carried on forward into real estate. But being in that body shop world, it was a group of, at 18, 19, 20 years old, I mean, having 10, 15, 16 employees and, having to commit to different things at different levels and having people that are much older than you that have to respect you. Yeah. It was a challenge, and it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot more than probably I could have ever learned at 8 years of Harvard, I could tell you that.
Yeah, I know. That's so true. So were your parents in that industry? Did they help you open up the shop?
No, I'm one of those children that lost his parents very young. My father passed away when my mother was pregnant, believe it or not.
Oh, my.
And I was raised by my mother until she passed at 14 with the help of my two sisters. And then I owe a lot of my growth to my older sister, Kathy, for for taking me in and bringing me up.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Wow. Wow. That's nice. And that's amazing how, you had to do what you had to do. So you're 18 years old and you started your shop. And I can only imagine trying to coach or mentor a 45-year-old auto mechanic.
Let me tell you, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. And, but you learn quick. If you want to be successful and you want to succeed, you gotta take and run with it,
Yeah. And so let's talk about what your guiding principles are as a realtor now and how, your previous experience obviously influences your guiding principles now.
Well, I have this sign on my desk at one of my offices, and many of the people that walk in either love it or hate it. But I personally love it, and if they hate it, so be it. It says, all excuses and all drama will be left outside of this building.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a big proponent of no excuse and no drama. I mean, sometimes you can't help it. There's just that personality that comes out in some people that they just are very dramatic. But to me, there's really no excuse for something. You can make, I screwed up, and that's what happened. And I'll be the first one to tell you if I screwed up. I don't like saying it. But I will say, hey, I just messed up, guys, and I'll make it right. I'll do what I can.
Yeah.
But some people like to say that it's this person's fault or that person's fault or whatever. And at the end of the day, it's just an excuse. And that's probably my biggest motto.
Yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know what you mean. I remember going to, my mom signed me up for a Brian Tracy seminar, which is sort of like Tony Robbins, and when I was 18 or 19 years old. And one of the things that I was shocked by was they said, everything in your life is your responsibility. And I went, what? No, that's not true. I mean, I might have a car accident or that's not my fault. And literally took me a couple of years. It was bouncing around in my head. And I went, you know what? I kind of get what he's talking about. And I've raised my kids like that too, take responsibility. And I think that when I come across people now that have that victim mentality, I can't even relate to them. And I imagine for you in your position as a mentor to younger agents, you got to set them straight, because if you don't take responsibility for things, you're going to go through life having no control over your life, really.
You nailed it. You get a lot of the younger agents that come in, and the first thing I tell them when they first start, if they really, I'm a very good judge of character. I think I could read people. I've done a lot of the personality training courses. And you can usually tell a person's ability fairly well off in the first 10 minutes of speaking with them.
Yeah.
So I can pretty much tell very quickly if someone's going to be good at what real estate requires of them to do.
Mm-hmm.
If they are, and they listen and they follow, then they're going to go down a path that I went down, that I've already been experienced through, that I'm more than happy to help guide them through. And that's the neat thing about Exit, is it offers that mentorship and it offers that sponsorship where a lot of other companies don't. So a lot of the new agents coming in, if I see that they have that ability, I'll push them harder to make sure that they succeed. And if there's some agents that come in that are just, oh well, this, where's my check? I'm here.
No.
I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
That's just, real estate's not for them.
No, you have to be a go-getter and a self-starter for sure.
Yes, by far.
Yeah. My mom was a realtor for 25 years. I always talk about that on the show, but I mean, she was a single mom, and I remember she would knock on door after door after door after door, and she's like, I got to feed my kids. I got to make some money. She ended up being very successful in real estate with tons of referrals. But at the beginning, it's such hard work. You have to put in the work.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to be the person. What a lot of people don't realize is that most realtors go to work when most people get off of work.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And if you're going to be a 9-to-5 realtor, or you're going to work it part-time, you're not going to make it a career. It's going to be very tough to be very successful in it.
Absolutely. That's
the thing.
True.
You got to be there when they get off at 6 and say, hey, I get off at 6. I need to see the house at 7.
Yeah.
You make it happen. Or I can only do it Sunday at 5. Yeah. There's certain things that you have to do. I've written contracts on Thanksgiving. We just went on you want to hear something funny? We just got back from a team cruise.
Yeah.
We wrote 7 offers while we were on the cruise ship.
That's fantastic. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going away this weekend to my friend's cabin on the lake, which is so beautiful. Every time I get invited, I feel so privileged. But there's no phone service where she lives, so I can't work. And it makes me really nervous.
That would give me anxiety. That would not make me relax.
I know. That's why I've got to bring some wine.
Well, that will help. Come to the wine walk. I'll give you tickets.
Yeah, really. No, I'm just like, okay, I'm getting my head around. I think that I'm an A-type personality, right? So I'm like, of course I want to take the weekend off, but it's just odd to think I can't even check my emails. Pretty crazy.
I'm one of those phone addicted guys. It's my pacemaker.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's when you own your own business and you're self-employed, it's very, very different than being a salaried employee and checking out at 5 o'clock and not having to worry about a thing until the next morning.
And that's perfect for some people, but if real estate's your bag, that's not the way it works.
No, exactly. So I have an idea of how you're going to answer this question, but I want to hear in your words, how are you different than your competitors?
Well, I would honestly say that work ethic. I would go against any realtor, at least locally, in work ethic and just the people around me. Answering the phone or returning calls. That's the number one complaint that most buyers and sellers have. They don't have any feedback from the agents they're working with, and that's one of the biggest things I push to always do. If that phone rings, unless you're in the middle of a conversation with a client or you're showing a house or something, answer it or ask permission to answer it. Make sure you get that person on the phone because you've only got so many seconds to grab that call because that buyer may go on. Most buyers are impatient. They're going to go on to the next person that answers the phone.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to take that call if you can and then call them back. At least call them back and say, hey, I'm with someone. Your call is very important. Let me finish with the business I've already scheduled for the day, and I'll get back to you. I thank you for calling me. And those will make your business tenfold if you can just get in the habit and ritual of doing that.
Absolutely. Following up and calling back is so important. And I think sometimes it makes it easy when the your competitors don't do that, because I've had so many times where I've called people back and they go, oh my gosh, it's you. I can't believe you back.
It is funny how often that happens where they go, oh my God, you answer the phone.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting here at my desk.
Yeah. Someone, my partner, Scott, he had asked me a couple of months ago to speak at something, and I had mentioned something. I said, my philosophy is that people that want to retire, what do they typically say? Oh, I want to go enjoy something and do things. I want to fish, or I want to go whatever. I want to go sit on the balcony of my condo and listen to the waves come in. Yeah. And I said, well, what if retirement allowed you to make money?
Oh.
And they go, what do you mean? I said, well, your retirement is something you do because you love doing it, right? And they go, yeah. I said, well, what if you loved your job so much that you treated it as though you were retired and you got paid to do it?
Yeah.
So that's really the thing. I mean, if you really, really are passionate about the job you do and you love it that much and you get paid for it, what is better than that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny how, I mean, I love my work. I have this show, obviously, for realtors, but I also, in my real job, I publish books. And I only work with business people, and I help them with writing a book and publishing. And I love what I do. I say to people, I get to make people happy all day long. But if I am so interested in being a realtor because of my mom and because of all the realtors I interview. I'm like, oh, I could just kill it. I know I'd be a great realtor.
Well, just the first few minutes of talking with you, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, it's one of those things where I think, oh, I would love it because I love helping people. I also am really good at marketing. So but the only thing for me is I don't know about working on Thanksgiving and writing offers while I'm on a cruise. And so, there's a bit of a balance there.
Well, you don't have to, but it's something that, if it took me an hour to do, it may have made that person at the other end of the phone so appreciative that I did it on that time.
Yeah. That
it's now, instead of sending me 2 people they know, they may send me 10.
Yeah, that's true. I never really thought about that. Yeah, you're doing it for them. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for us. I mean, at the end of the day, we get gratitude for it and paid, hopefully.
Yeah.
But really, they're the ones that are trying to buy their dream home or sell their home or whatever. There's the 5 things that are most stressful in a person's life. 2 of them out of those 5 is buying a home and selling a home.
Yeah.
So chances are you're involved in 1 or 2 of the worst stressful processes that a person will go through.
Oh, and for me, it would be the packing. When we moved into this house, we have a 5-bedroom house. I said to my husband, okay, A, we have way too much stuff. B, I'm never, ever leaving. I hate
they have people that do that, right, for you.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I said, if we ever move, which I hope we will one day because my dream is to have ocean view here, I'll have to get somebody to do it for me because I can't even handle it. Okay, I really want to talk to you about you talked a little bit about your sponsoring events in your community, but I know you do a lot. You work with kids in need as well and homeless. So can you tell me a little bit more about how you contribute to your community?
Yeah, my contribution is more monetary than it probably is labor. I mean, my feelings there is I try and give as much labor as I can, but I'll take the monetary portion and contribute it to those charities that need it. So
that's great. People, they need money.
Yeah, well, they need money, and I'm a firm believer is let people do what they do best. They do better than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm very good at what I do in sales, so let me do that and make money and then give you the money to go do what you do best.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like we sponsor the Kiwanis. We've done it for a number of years, and it's a children's organization here that they help just the local children get through stuff. We love that. We sponsor the events there at some level of form, whether it's gold, silver, or platinum sponsorship, and all that money goes to a very good charity. Scott, who's my partner, he's involved in a Foundation 37 where they help parents of need. They don't give them money, but they'll fix the tires that are flat on their car. They'll fix a broken engine in the car so they can get to work.
Oh, that's great.
It's not a cash handout. It's more of a, let's see if we can fix the things you need fixed around you so that you can go make money, make a life for yourself.
Oh,
so that's a passion there. And then, I sponsor some of the golf tournaments and a number of things around here that all that money goes back into the community for the homeless and for the kids that are around here that need Christmas gifts and whatnot. So I touch on a lot of different things. We don't do just one. Our company, Exit Realty, their big sponsorship platform is for Habitat for Humanity.
Oh, good.
And I know Gina, our partner, she's gone and actually helped build a house not too long ago, which was kind of neat. We did a little video and some pictures of her up. So, we try and give back as much as we can.
Yeah, that's great.
But there's a lot of people in need, and I personally, and so does everyone on my team. I actually got a couple of veterans on my team. I'd love to help the veterans and the heroes in the area. We give them discounts when they need help. And there's all different levels of heroes. I don't zero it down to just somebody that fought overseas. I mean, you could have a hero that that just saved somebody's life next to you when they're getting in a car accident. That's a hero.
Yeah.
So you have to look at it in all angles.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
We do that.
Wow. Sometimes a single mom raising 5 kids on her own is a hero too.
I look at it like that. My mom raised me and my 2 sisters with no husband that just passed away, and she didn't work. She's a hero. And then my sister steps up and raises me. So, I mean, there's all levels of heroism.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Well, that is so lovely. And, when we choose who we want on the radio show, I think that there's lots of successful realtors out there. That's not what this show is about. It's called Real Estate Game Changers for a reason, because I think to whom much is given, much is expected. And the fact that you give so much to your community and you just have such high integrity, and I'm just so happy to have you on the show. So thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me. It was truly a pleasure.
Oh, it was wonderful. So can you tell our listeners how they can get a hold of you if they'd like to talk with you about real estate?
Well, absolutely. You can either go to my website, which is FloridaRealEstatePros.com.
Okay.
So it's Florida spelt out, real estate spelt out, and then PROS at the end.com. And you can reach me through there. You can also reach me on my Zillow account. If everybody knows what Zillow is. I have a very huge recognition on Zillow.
Great. Lots of reviews.
Yep, and I'm happy to give out my cell number on the air, so if anybody wants to call or have questions, or if they're in the New Smyrna area looking to relocate or whatever they want to do, if they'd like, they can certainly give me a call. It's 386-527-5357.
Excellent. That's great. Well, thank you again. I really, really enjoyed talking with you, and I know our listeners are going to love this interview. So thanks so much, Carl.
It was truly a pleasure.
This has been another episode of Real Estate Game Changers Radio with your host, Suzanne Doyle Ingram. To hear all episodes featuring our hand-picked real estate game changers, visit us online at www.realestategamechangersradio.com.